So so the guy calls them up, and what do they want you to do? They want you to come down. They want you to go meet somewhere. Or how does that work out?
They brought 3 charges immediately.
Okay,
It was theft of government property, the lectern, felony,
which you didn't do.
which I didn't do.
Right.
It was violent entry, misdemeanor,
Which you didn't do.
didn't do. And then it was entering and remaining in a restricted building, trespassing, which technically I did.
You went in the wrong door.
Went in the wrong door.
Right. Okay.
So self-surrendered on a Friday
I'm not making
night.
excuses for you. I'm trying to lay out the truth of what actually, according to you, what happened.
Yes, well, that's fair. I mean, again,
Yeah.
I want to be honest, forthcoming. So went to state Pinellas County, actually, county
Right.
for 4 days, Friday through Monday isolation. Saw a judge on Monday morning.
All right, wait, hold on. You got to back it up. So you go. I'm going to tell you the worst part. Second to hearing that the government is bringing charges against you, the worst part for me was when you show up at the jail and they go, "We need your cell phone." Now, I mean, I am now going into a holding cell with nothing.
Mhm.
Right? You have nothing on you, and you don't seem like a guy who's been in trouble before.
No, I did smoke a marijuana once when I was 19.
Marijuana.
I did.
So you go in the jail. Are you scared going into jail, or you think I'm going in a place they're gonna federal thing and they're gonna hold me?
My attorneys actually reached out to the local jail, local sheriff, and said, "Listen, this guy's high profile. You need to make sure he's not in Gen Pop."
Right.
So they actually held me in one of the Epstein cells. Like, no, not officially Epstein, but
Right, but one of
the
those.
isolation, 6x6 cube.
Yeah, and what is the comfort level of that cell? In all honesty, hopefully I'll never get to find out. But I mean, it looks pretty awful. They always say you got a real thin mattress. You're in there. I mean, how does it smell bad? Is it cold?
Oh, it's freezing cold.
Really?
No blankets, no pillows. I mean, no level of comfort.
Right, and you're just stuck in there.
Yes.
And no blankets and no pillows. You're sleeping on a cot with no pillows.
Mm-hmm.
That's.
Well, everyone else got them but me. Not sure how that turned out.
Oh, I got you.
And then I was supposed to get phone calls. I was supposed to be able to brush my teeth and shower.
Right.
One of the CEOs came in on Sunday and he was like, "All right, it's time for your hour of rec time." Like, "What's rec time?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "They didn't let you out." I'm like, "Nah." So didn't get a chance to call my attorneys, my family. But I mean, this is how prisons work.
And you got what do you have? Just a pooper in there? Just
Yep.
a toilet? Yeah.
Well, it's a toilet, water fountain, sink combo.
What was the first time you pooped in there like?
Cold.
I mean, honestly, that's you ever. That's one of the things I think about, having to poop in jail. But you're by yourself, so that's not so bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
Not too bad. It was worse in federal prison.
Yeah, why? Because you were in with other people.
200 person block. There were 8 toilets. 4 of them you cannot use because that's where they hide things.
Oh.
So it's a constant. So
you just knew not to use those toilets. Like somebody said to you, don't use 1,
Yes.
7, and 5.
Yes.
And they hide things in the tank.
Fish line, Ziploc bags, tied up, flush it.
Fish lines.
Wow.
So
Oh,
when
yeah.
they want something, they just pull it back out.
Uh-huh.
Holy cow!
That's how they did it in Oz. I saw that.
Is it really?
Yeah, the TV show.
And why is it that you knew that, but the guards never knew that, or did they know and they just overlooked it?
A lot of the contraband that comes in comes from the guards. So
Yeah, I
when they
gotcha.
look, like they definitely do their job and look.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was your final sentence?
I pled guilty to a misdemeanor trespassing.
Okay,
I got a 75-day federal prison sentence
for trespassing.
for trespassing.
Okay.
Yeah, setting records over here.
Yeah.
$5,000 fine, 200 hours of community service, and a year of supervised release.
So that year is up.
Yes.
You're good with that. The fine, will that be reimbursed?
Probably not.
Okay.
That's probably gone.
Now, what is the process when the president signs the executive order and he pardons everybody? What happens to you?
Nothing. I've been done for a couple of years now.
Right.
So this is it's more of a.
But you no longer have to list this on your applications or any. You're no longer I don't know. You probably didn't before because it was a misdemeanor.
Exactly.
So really, your life doesn't change by the pardon at all.
It doesn't.
Yeah. But are you happy though that you were pardoned? Because really, let's be honest. You got screwed, like Galvin said, because you grabbed the podium and you waved. You embarrassed them, and that's why they took it out on you. There were probably people there that did way worse things that they don't know who they are and didn't embarrass them enough, so they're not going after them.
It's I'm thankful I got a pardon. It's a nice gesture, and you don't lick a gift horse in the mouth.
Yeah.
All these idioms, but part of it does feel kind of gross because my pardon pulls me together with a lot of people who probably should have gone to jail for hitting cops.
Yeah.
And my pardon is the same as theirs. And I imagine that people who just patted people on the back, and got an assault charge probably feel the same.
But do you think though that it's better that that the majority of people, I mean, if you have to do a pardon, I know what you're saying. You'd rather not be a blanket pardon, but what a pain in the ass and what a waste of resources it is to have to go back and visit and go through every one of those things again. It's almost better to say it's easier. It's not better. It's definitely easier to just say pardon.
Well,
And also, it's a big fu to
there's a
the other
spreadsheet.
side.
There's a spreadsheet. The
Yeah.
DOJ has this file. I think it would have been better to pardon nonviolent people day one, and it would have been better to commute sentences for anyone who was still serving time.
So in your heart, you feel like you've been lumped in with the violent offenders.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at first I thought you would be happy because you no longer have to be associated with this, but it's a goddamn misdemeanor charge. You don't have it. It probably doesn't show up anywhere in your life.
And it's also a scarlet letter. I mean, that photo is not going away. Whether I'm pardoned or not, I'm still that guy.
Yeah. Looking back on it, would you not have done it now, knowing what you know? I mean, nobody wants to go to jail, but it wasn't that long of a stint.
I like making lemonade. A lot of people were throwing stones for a couple of years. I like building towers out of them.
Yeah.
I got a charity going. I actually build little lecterns. I sell them, and I get the
Oh,
money.
I have
to-
one.
Great.
I have it out there still,
Oh,
and
dude,
it's
awesome.
in the green room. Yeah.
You got to check one of the first ones.
Yeah.
But we've turned it around. I've got to meet a lot of very good people. I've been able to build a voice, and I'm just hope to make some more good out of it.
I think one of the things is people expect these guys that were involved to be mongoloids. They think you're just going to be every one of these guys and be like, we love Trump and that's why we were there. And then you talk to you and you're an educated guy who has an honest outlook on the whole situation. And I think that goes a long way. People realize that it wasn't just a bunch of maniacs who wanted to storm the Capitol, but some people were just interested in the process and how things go, and then may or may not have been caught up a little bit in the whole situation.
It is that.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, I do think that a lot of people, myself included, were overserved by the Department of Justice. I think we can look back now and say, yeah, that was probably a bit too much.
Yeah.
And I don't know. These people who are now pardoned, they've lost their jobs. They've lost their families.
Yeah.
There's been, I think, 5 suicides now
Oof.
from our community.
Wow.
2 of them have died recently in the past 2 days, both shot. So, I mean, how do these people actually start over? I've had a couple of years to put my life together. Some people have been in prison rotting for 4 years.
Which blows my mind. Well, I mean, I don't know the level of the people that are in prison. There may be some people in there deservedly rotting that hit the police officers doing what they did. But the idea, I've been reading this. I was reading this book about Rikers Island, the prison, and how so many of those people end up in that jail because of the way the system works, and will serve 4 years in jail and then be found not guilty.
Yes.
And because of the way the system is so bad and so delayed, that's what happened. And these people are losing years and years from their life because of the system.
Yes. I met a handful of those people in prison. I watched one guy get released after I think it was a 14-year sentence for cocaine.
Wow.
And that man's life is ruined. Like
Yeah.
someone taught his kids how to drive. Someone watched them grow up and get married. And how is that fair? How is that justice?
Was that the hardest part for you? I can do 75 days away from my wife like that, no problem. But the day that they put me in and I can't see, and you're a stay-at-home dad, you can't see your kids for 2 months. That's got to be something.
It was not a pleasant time.
Yeah.
I read a bunch of books. It was during COVID, so the first 17 days were in isolation.
Right.
So getting a hold of people was darn near impossible.
Yeah.
I chose not to take visitation while I was there from the family because there were guys who were serving very long stretches. During COVID, there was no visitation.
Yeah.
They had just recently brought it back, but it was 2 people a unit were allowed to see their family. So I forewent my visitation and gave it to someone else because I get to leave in a couple of weeks and you're not going to see your family for another year.
You're like when Jews work on Christmas, and like, you guys have Christmas, we'll work the Christmas day. That's good. I like that. So you gave it up for the other people. So were you like the cool guy in prison? Like the other prisoners, like Adam's all right.
There was a modicum of infamy that definitely followed me there. People knew who I was
Right.
between the guards and the inmates that were there. Everyone was very polite. I got to watch whatever TV I wanted to watch in whatever room, even though they're very, very much self-sorting.
Yeah. You got TV. What other luxuries do they have in federal prison?
They did throw me a going away party. They brought in a bottle of Johnny Walker Blue and a Publix cake.
Oh,
So that
wow. All right. Yeah, not
In
too
the
bad.
That's so funny. And so you were well liked when you were in there?
I was.
Yeah.
I actually helped build a library while I was there. COVID took away all their books.
That's Shawshank that you're talking
Yeah.
about.
No,
You're
I
talking
swear
about
to God.
Shawshank
Do you have a
Prison.
friend named Red?
No, I swear to God. So they took away all the books during COVID. They said, all these books are dirty, they're unclean, so they shut the library down. I had so many people sending me books in, they told me no more books. So we got together, other inmate numbers, and we had them send them to them instead. So by the time I left, we had some 200-300 books that were sitting there.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, see, that's the other thing. If you have a good system of people outside, you can survive that time. It's a short amount of time. You can get through it. Was there anything, I know this is an odd question, but was there anything you enjoyed about being in there? Like I'm talking about just being in prison, not about the whole process. But I mean, did you enjoy hey, well, at least at lunch we had some camaraderie or something? Was there anything good about it?
The weekends, actually.
What'd you do on the weekends?
The weekends, everyone came together. Whether it was the Puerto Ricans, the blacks, the Mexicans, the whites, everyone made food. We all watched sports.
Right.
It was this time where everyone got together. We're all in the same place, all wearing the same clothes. Maybe some different shoes, the contraband, but everyone made food. Everyone came together. Everyone rooted for the sports teams.
Wow. So you all got to watch football together.
There was definitely a sense of community in there.
Yeah. That's interesting, man. Because we all think I have definitely made decisions in my life when I was younger to not do things because I didn't want to go to jail. That's the word. And now I think I would miss my kids terribly, and I would miss my iPhone almost as much as my children. I would go at them because I've become so addicted to using electronics that I would be miserable in there. But I think I could do 75 days. I think I'd get out. I think I'd appreciate life a lot more on the way out. Did you have that kind of feeling when you got out, where you're like, I appreciate your freedom a lot better, or was it not long enough to really feel?
I had everything I love taken from me.
Yeah,
and
totally.
There is when you feel that complete loss, it's very easy to come out and live in a spirit of thankfulness the rest of your life.
Sure, yeah, I get that. I I have done things to jeopardize other things, and my wife will look at me and she'll go, "You're a dick." Did your wife ever? Did she give you that? Did it cause grief between the two of you, or is she just like, "You're a dummy"?
There was definitely initial conversation of what have you done to our family.
Yeah.
And when they were talking about a 20-year, 30-year sentence initially, my first conversation with her was, look, I don't expect you to wait around. You're young. That's your whole life. I did this thing to us. You didn't do it to us. If you need to move on, I completely understand.
Right. You gave her the out.
I did.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm a decent person.
Right, but you thought for sure that this could be a 20-year thing for you. Like you had to really. If my wife said to me, if I said I'm going away for 75 days, and she said, "Well, that's the end for me," I'd be like, I'll be back in 2 months.
Tap it out.
Yeah. So I mean, you thought you were going.
I did.
Yeah.
And she told me, you're being stupid. We took a vow. I took an oath, and I'm going to honor that because I know you would.
Oh, that's good.
I have a question for you. Have you ever thought about cutting your glorious locks so you wouldn't be as recognizable?
Longer now.
I'm
Yeah.
actually growing it out for. I'm donating it. That's why it's
nice.
so long.
Nice.
Oh, there
My
you
grandma
go.
got cancer when I was younger, and I always thought it'd be a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
And if I can grow it, why not?
Yeah, good
Donate
for
it.
you.
How often do you get recognized?
It depends. I go to a lot of events now, so it's
Right.
definitely a lot there. In my local community, if I go to the grocery store, I go to my local restaurant. It's always a conversation. Hey, how you doing? How do you feel about this? How do you feel about that? And
Yeah, isn't it interesting how you were just some guy who went up to DC and now you're an authority on things because you were in jail? I mean, that's the truth. Is that it shows you what it takes to become? I mean, you can literally run for office now because of your popularity, and
It is.
you will get support.
it's odd though. I think my superpower is I can say I don't know, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
If I don't know, I'd rather learn. So
I would. My audience would not. They would not let me live it down if I don't ask you this.
okay.
You were in jail for 75 days. How long before you did gay stuff?
Almost immediately, but I didn't. Look, I didn't enjoy it. They just laid there.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Oh man, I gotta tell you, I can't even think that. I mean, 75 days. That'd be the last thing I would think about, and no, I would just keep looking at that end date and going, "That's all That's all I care about."
They do a lot of things actually to suppress testosterone for inmates.
Really?
So it's a very carb heavy diet. So it's potatoes upon potatoes upon potatoes.
Yeah.
You actually can't do pull-ups in prison because it gets you too strong.
Really?
hmm If they see you doing pull-ups, it's a shot. You get so many shots, you go to the shoe.
No kidding.
hmm
From doing well, that's something I'll never get in trouble for.
Yep. You're allowed to run, which is again cardio, losing weight, losing muscle mass. But things like lifting weights, very very frowned upon.
Really?
Yes.
Oh man, maybe jail won't be so bad.
It sounds horrible to me.
Well, you don't have to work out.
Yeah, no.
You get to hang out with the other guys and eat potatoes.
Nah.
Well, sounds great.
I'm Irish. I like to run.
Yeah.
2 things that work perfectly for
I
me.
love the cold weather.
I feel like I would make a mistake and forget that I not to use toilet number 5.
Yeah.
And next thing I know,
true.
I'm
Yeah,
the
for
one
sure.
that ruined the contraband getting in.
You see anybody get shanked or anything, or was it not violent at all?
There was one pillow party that
Really?
did happen.
Pillow party, like a code red.
You stuff a pillowcase full of like bars of soap and
Right.
other things, and you beat the tar out of
Did
someone.
that guy
Oh,
deserve
man.
it, or did
Absolutely.
he did? What did he
did.
do?
So, in the place that I was at, they actually very much frowned upon any of the touchy stuff.
Yeah.
Because if you get caught doing that, you lose commissary, you lose yard time. No one wants to get caught up in that because it's corporal punishment.
Right.
There was an older gentleman who was caught relieving himself at 2:00 in the morning on top of a younger male,
Oh,
Who
and
was sleeping? Oh,
And when that was found out, some guy walked by. They called for a party. Party happened. They took this guy's commissary. This guy basically starved for 2 weeks. They wouldn't let him shower. If he tried to use the bathroom or banging on the doors, they effectively punished him. So the COs didn't punish everyone.
and they looked out for the other guy. They
Mhm.
kind of policed their own situation.
Oh no, they raped him.
do people tip you off when you're going in, or do you start Googling how do I survive federal prison?
Yeah, like Martha
Like,
Stewart
how do you
did.
find these things out?
So I definitely did Google a bunch. I watched a bunch of prison podcasts. Like what's day one look like?
Right.
But I was in isolation for the first 17 days. There was a guy that came down day one. His name was Sal. Sal's like the most New Jersey Italian guy that you can wrap your head around.
Yeah.
It is this guy. Had
Yeah.
a gold chain in prison. Don't know how he got it.
Oh, all right.
Hey,
So-
how you doing, long hair?
Yeah, so Sal
Yeah.
comes down. He gives me 2 trash bags full of like ramen, nice pair of Nikes, gym shorts, all the creature comforts you can actually get in prison. And he's like, "Oh, you're one of us now," which meant the whites.
White guys. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And he's like, we take care of our own. We were going to do this. We're going to do that. And I'm like, I don't think I want to take any gifts day one. Maybe just hold on to it. It's like, no, it's not like that here. They do that stuff up in low.
It was so. Did you take it?
I did take it,
And-
and I
and-
ate like a king.
And he didn't call you 3 days later and
Wow.
say, now you have to stab a Puerto Rican for us?
No.
Yeah.
I will tell you, no one liked the Puerto Ricans in prison. Though.
Really?
Oh.
Yes, it was the one group everyone equally just did not like.
Why? Were they just a little
They got
too
us
loud?
in trouble. They
Uh,
got us in trouble. They were flying drones up and down the hallways delivering packages at 3:00 in the morning. It's like, you're going to get all of us punished.
Oh,
And it's like,
Flying
it's a short
drones?
walk. It's a short walk. Just walk down there.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Well, listen, this is definitely, I have to tell you, you're part of history. Whether it was a long way to get there or not, the right way or the wrong way, you're a part of it. You're there. And I do find it admirable that you don't run away from it. You have been very good to us. We met, I think it was my birthday party when we met. I kind of recognized you and I was like, go ask that guy who he is, And
I think last time we had you on was a week or so before you were going away.
That's
Is that what
true.
it was?
That is
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
I had just been sentenced. I had to report to prison in like 2 weeks, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, that's well. Look, I also feel like you did something. You did time. You probably did way more time than you deserved for the crime that you committed. But you're done now, and you've been officially pardoned.
This is true.
Yeah. Now, do you get something
You
that
know-
says you're pardoned? Do you get a piece of paper or something?
That's a great question. I know I can print something off online, but I feel like I need something like a nice card stock.
Yeah.
Maybe a real signature, a nice
like a
little frame.
proclamation.
yeah.
Something.
Something,
would
yeah,
be nice.
yeah. Like
Something
when-
would be nice.
When they name a day after somebody, they have like a proclamation. On this
Mhm.
day, we declare, I feel like this guy who was like the top 5 of you guys should get proclamations. The shaman guy, you, the guy who was hanging from the wall outside.
Yeah, a lot of people are upset about the pardons. They really, really are. I'm hearing this, and then
I think they're upset because of the reason you're upset, because you've been lumped in with the group of people who are actually offenders. So in order to take care of everybody, the people who didn't get to serve justice, justice served on them, are getting away with it. And I'm sure that is what, but I mean, that also makes you mad. So
but with that line of logic, wouldn't it also mean they would have to admit that I was overcharged and oversentenced?
yes,
If they're fine with my pardon now, I mean, I guess, is that a form of an apology?
you've done something now that if you walked into the Capitol building today through the Senate door and got caught in there and took a picture with a lectern while you were there, nothing would happen to you.
You mean like the pro-Palestinians who marched through the Capitol last year?
Right.
Or the LGBTQ community who marched through the Capitol?
Right.
Mhm.
You would get nothing would happen to you.
A fine slap on the
a-
wrist.
a fi- if that.
Mhm.
That. And but because because of them goddamn Getty Image people, man, they get that stuff out there and get it up quick. You became the face.
This is what happened.
It bothered me though that because there were obviously a lot of levels to how bad things got.
Oh yeah,
Because I mean, there were people that did horrible things in there
Yes.
with beating cops. The one guy they just got out, he had thrown an explosive device down a hallway that it injured like 4 or 5 police officers. That's what bothered me about the pardons was they didn't want to take the time to see the different levels. It was just everybody, is done and out. Because there's some pretty messed up, horrible people that got to just walk free.
That is my complaint. There's one guy who actually was hitting officers with a baseball bat while holding a riot shield. And if you look at what his sentencing guidelines would have been, he probably would still be in jail for that.
Right.
Because that's assault with a deadly weapon on an officer.
on an officer.
So
just the blanket pardon was my biggest complaint. That I think they should have taken time to go through some of these and make certain levels. Because
Do you think that the Trump pardons, the blanket pardon, was in response to the Biden pardons before he left office?
no, I think
You didn't.
no.
You don't think that he? Well, I know he planned on pardoning the
'cause
January 6th people. He said it.
He campaigned on that the whole time.
But do you think he went an extra say, you know what, forget it, just do them all?
I think that was always the plan.
and
day
presidents
one.
have always pardoned some gross people. Jimmy Carter pardoned the Puerto Rican nationalists who shot
Yeah.
Congress back in the 60s. Bill Clinton pardoned,
do
who was
hate
it,
Puerto
Susan?
Ricans,
Yeah. Bill Clinton pardoned, who was it, Suzanne Rosa, who was part of Weather Underground, who supplied the bombs that bombed the U.S. Capitol back in the 80s.
Plenty of scumbags have been pardoned before.
Yes.
Like, all
Again,
presidents. No, I was not. Like I said, he campaigned on that. He said day one that was one of the very first things he was going to do.
Right, but they asked him, "Will you do a blanket pardon or will you do?" And he said, "We don't know. We're gonna."
They
look
asked
at
J.D. Vance that, and he said, obviously, people who have attacked law enforcement aren't going to get out.
Right.
And Trump just said, nope, everybody's free and clear.
I think it just came from it's been 4 years. We have more pressing issues. It's time to move on. And
Yeah.
we do. We actually have real issues in our country that need to be solved.
Yeah, and then there were guys like you who got caught up in it and got way too got way too involved and got way too punished. And like your wife said, you could have ruined your whole life. Thankfully, it did not.
What was the worst thing you saw happening with your own eyes that entire day?
I would say the assaulting the officers.
Yeah.
I do. I don't support that. My community service, I spent 200 hours actually working with law enforcement. So maybe that's me, like a testament. Sorry about what happened, guys. I'm not that guy, but I don't support that. Never have, never will. These are people who only meet people on the worst days of their life, and that's a hard job. I don't want it.
Well, I have to tell you, you're a very interesting guy. The whole story is great, and I appreciate you being cool to us. I know a lot of people try to get a hold of you and try to get you on the air, and I don't know why you like us, but I'm glad you do because it's just an interesting story. I know that there's going to be people that are mad that we had you on for a second time, and it's not that I don't care, but if you don't get it, then you don't get it. I'm always going to talk to interesting people on this show, and this guy is in an event that was in history, and to be able to get a first-hand eyewitness account is great. It's priceless. Thank you for making the drive. I don't even know where Parrish is.
It's North Sarasota.
Yeah, I just see the signs all the time. Like it's one of those cities like Perry. You never get there. It's always just say eventually you'll get there. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And we got to take a break. Anything you need to do? Anything you need to plug or anything before anything you want to get out there?
If you feel so inclined, you can follow me on Twitter. It's at Lectern Leader. We do a bunch of good over there. Lots of fun jokes. So come have a good time.
Yeah, I was. I couldn't remember what it was. I was trying to find you. I didn't have your phone number. I couldn't find it, and I'm like, I know we got like Twitter or something. I'm looking up Podium guy.
Yeah, I remember I had his phone number for last time.
Yeah.
I sent him a text. I'm like, hey man, he's like, I'm in Vegas right now, dude.
Oh yeah, what were you doing there? Just vacationing?
Shot show.
Shot show. That's right. Yeah, that's where our Shark Coast guys are this week. Yeah.
Oh yeah, lots of fun.
Yeah. All right, cool. All right, thank you, Adam Johnson. We'll take a quick break. It's the Mike Calta Show. This is 102.5 The Bone.